Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to the reading from Brilliant as the Sun, a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, the sages of Naimisharanya. By Krishna Dharma Prabhu and Chittamani Dham Mataji. We are reading from the chapter 1 at the moment, which we started yesterday, questions by the sages. And just to give you a recap of the 6 questions which the sages they asked at the beginning of Bhagavatam, they are: what is most beneficial for humanity? What are the essential duties given in the Vedic scriptures? Why does Krishna appear as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki? Describe Krishna's pastimes. 5th one is describe the pastimes of Krishna's other incarnations, including that of creation. And the 6th one is, in whom did religious principles take shelter after Krishna left this world? So yesterday we left when Sutta Goswami was going to start speaking, and he had just arrived after a lengthy pilgrimage, and the sages who were gathered there, they elected Shaunak, the celestial sage Bhrigu's son. He was elected to pose the questions to Sutta Goswami. So let us begin. And all the gathered sages, they also decided that they didn't need to say any mantras or anything, because the discourse Sutta Goswami was going to give was sufficient enough. So they decided to simply keep the fire kindled, to keep the Agni of the Yajna on, but not to say any mantras, just to listen to Sutta Goswami. Shaunak was thus elected to pose their questions. For several hours he sat in conference with other senior sages to determine that questions he should put to Sutta. The next morning Sutta took to his seat with due ceremony, and Shaunak sat on the platform a little below him. The other sages sat in a great semicircle around the two friends. Shaunak commenced the proceedings. Dear Sutta Goswami, you are the eldest and wisest among us. You have thoroughly studied taught the Purans, the Mahabharata, and all the scriptures describing religious duties. You are acquainted with the teachings of the great Vyasadeva, the Lord's literary incarnation, and you have heard from other erudite sages. Surely they have bestowed upon you all the knowledge due to your gentle and submissive nature. So this paragraph is from the 1st chapter, and it's covering the verses 6 to 8 from the 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, if you want to refer back to this reading, just to see which verses this reading is covering. So Shaunak has just said to Sutta Goswami that he's very much thoroughly studied the Purans, the Mahabharats, and all the scriptures and the religious duties. And he's also very much familiar with the teachings of the great Vyasadeva, the Lord's literary incarnation. So Vyasadeva, who has written all the Purans, the Vedas, who is he? He is the literary incarnation. So that is the knowledge the literary incarnation. We can say that the knowledge incarnation is Vyasadeva. And you have heard from other erudite sages. Please tell us that you have sufficiently learned from. Please tell us, yeah. Sutta bowed his head. He did not feel particularly qualified. He considered himself a mere messenger whose duty was to pass on the teachings of his great master without adulteration. I shall tell you everything I have learned, he said. Dear Sutta, said Shaunak, you have been traveling for years and have no doubt heard much. It would take a long time for you to repeat it all. We have therefore prepared 6 questions which we would like you to answer. Very well, then please ask. This is first chapter, verse 9. Shaunak folded his palms. As you know, we have gathered here to perform a 1,000-year sacrifice to benefit the people of Kali Yuga. Initially, we wanted to improve their material happiness by propitiating the gods. However, after hearing from your late father, Roma Harshana, so Sutta Goswami was the son of Roma Harshana, he learned that such happiness automatically follows spiritual advancement. Please therefore tell us in a simplified and concise manner what you have ascertained to be the ultimate spiritual good for all people. Is there some way the ordinary man can easily become free from misery and achieve eternal happiness? Now, this is first chapter, 10th verse. Sutta smiled. You are intelligent sages. Let me explain to you the various spiritual attainments one might seek, and you can decide which is best. Shaunak shook his head. There is confusion on this point, and these are difficult times. No one will live long enough to make an extensive study of scripture in order to determine life's highest aim. So they are all referring to the Kali Yuga here. Even if they do not have a sufficient lifespan, they have no inclination to study. Of those who might try, very few have the intelligence to understand, and they will not have access to learned persons who can help them. Even with such association, they are likely to be afflicted by bodily and mental woes that will obstruct them from serious spiritual enquiry. If somehow they do manage to make such an attempt, they may still come to the wrong conclusion. Please therefore give us clear answer. Very well, said Sutta. I will try my best to respond. What is your second question? So, first question has been asked. Now is the second question, which is in first chapter, 11th verse of first canto. Shaunak continued, we would like to know the best means for attaining life's goal. There are numerous scriptures describing countless duties. It takes many years to properly understand and know how to apply all these injunctions. Please tell us which one of them are essential and will benefit everyone in all circumstances. First chapter, 12 to 13 verse, then 20th verse. Sutta's eyes expanded in joy. These were perfect questions aimed at attaining life's greatest good, not just some temporary benefit soon lost in the course of time. Thank you, dear Shaunak. Your inquiries are most enlivening. What else do you wish to know? O Sutta, you are truly blessed, for you know the reason for Krishna's appearance as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. It is hard to understand why he and his divine brother Balram performed so many human-like pastimes, such as playing like young children and dancing with the gopis. These activities are so different from those of the other avatars. Please explain his purpose as you have heard it from the great masters, for we feel sure this will benefit everyone. So this was the question number 3, asked by the sages. So chapter 1, 14th verse of Canto 1. Even as he spoke about Krishna, Shaunak's mind became infused with spiritual happiness. Laughing, he replied, "Surely there is something wonderful about Krishna's appearance." Then in a more serious tone he added, "It is said that living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of life and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting his holy name, which drives away the fear of death." Now first chapter, 15th verse. Indeed, we have also heard that Krishna's power is such that those who surrender to him can liberate anyone. Such devotees are said to be more purifying than the sacred Ganges. For example, simply by seeing them one benefits. Therefore, it seems to us that by understanding the mystery of Krishna's appearance and activities, we can better aid the people of Kali Yuga. Now, first chapter, verses 16 to 18. Your deduction is most intelligent, said Sutta. Krishna's pastimes are indeed significant. Now, please tell me, what are your other questions? The Supreme Lord's acts are so magnificent and gracious that great liberated saints like Narad sing of them. Who is that person desiring liberation who would not want to hear them? Please therefore describe Krishna's glorious activities. So this is question 4. The sages want to know the Krishna's glorious activities. Who is that person desiring liberation from the miseries of the Kali age who would not want to hear about them? Please also describe the pastimes of other incarnations, including those of the universal creation, maintenance, and destruction. All the Lord's activities are transcendental and auspicious. So this was the question number 4. Chapter 1, verse 19. Lifting the corner of his mouth in an amused smile, Sutta replied, "This will take much time. Krishna performs unlimited pastimes and his avatars are countless." "Even so," said Shaunak, "we are greatly curious to hear these topics. Please explain whatever you feel you can." Now turning to the assembled sages for confirmation, he continued, "I think all of us would agree that this is time well spent. Indeed, spiritually advanced souls relish such talks constantly." Now the text is going to be from referring to chapter 1 and covering verses 21 to 22 for your reference. The others cheered loudly, expressing their agreement with Shaunak. Sutta's eyes twinkled mischievously. "I'm a little surprised that great Brahmins like yourself, absorbed in ritualistic sacrifices, should be so enthusiastic to hear about the personality of Godhead." Shaunak looked over the fires and then turned back to Sutta with a great solemn expression. "We already knew the age of Kali has commenced, but after what you told us yesterday, we have become aware of just how much degradation and suffering it will bring. Now we have lost interest in our sacrifice, doubting its efficacy, and we only want to hear from you about the Lord. We therefore thank Providence for sending you to guide us safely to the other side of this terrible age." So we have to be mindful. This is some kind of, it's like on the cusp of the previous Dwapar Yuga and coming to the Kali Yuga. So it's all the arrangement of the divine that the sages are asking these questions to the Sutta Goswami and he's answering, and Shaunak has been appointed as the person who is going to be asking the questions on behalf of all the gathered sages. Now from chapter 1 verse 23, Sutta praised Shaunak and the sages for their thoughtful inquiries and humbly replied, "I'm merely the Lord's instrument conveying his messages. Please let me know your 6th and final question." So that was the 5th question. who is the person desiring from the miseries of the Kali Yuga? I didn't say that was the fifth question. So that was question fifth. And this is the final questions. They're asking. When Lord Krishna was personally present, he protected religious principles. Now that he has departed, how will they be preserved? A flock of birds flew into the sky from a blossoming branch, sending down a shower of flower petals. The birds' cries mixed with the calls of peacocks, sounding from the forest as Sutta cheerfully began to speak. So they have posed their 6 questions through Shonak Rishi. Now, 6 questions, I will again give you the recap. The first question was, what is the most beneficial for humanity? Second was, what are the essential duties given in the Vedic scriptures? Third was, why does Krishna appear as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki? Fourth, describe Krishna's pastimes. Fifth, describe the pastimes of Krishna's other incarnations. And sixth, in whom did religious principles take shelter after Krishna left this world? And remember, Sutta Goswami says that describing the pastimes of Krishna is going to take a long time. So yes, Bhagavatam is full of the pastimes of the Lord when he was here performing his pastimes, and of the various associates of Krishna, they will be described as well. And now it's the end of chapter 1 in the book. Now it's chapter 2, attaining divinity. After hearing the 6 questions of the sages, Sutta answered the first 2. He explained that life's highest attainment is to develop one's loving relationship with Krishna, and that life's most essential duties are to continuously hear about, glorify and remember the Lord. So now these texts are from chapter 2, covering verses 1 to 4. As was his custom, Sutta recited prayers petitioning the divine mercy. I bow down to Shukadev Goswami, who left home while still a boy. For the welfare of all people, he later spoke Srimad Bhagavatam, the science of God, to Emperor Parikshit. The sages raised their arms and called out glories to Shukadev Goswami. With closed eyes, Sutta spoke in prayerful tones before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which destroys our ignorance. I offer obeisances to its compiler, sage Vyasadev, and to its patron deities, the divine incarnations Nara and Narayan. Obeisance also to the goddess of learning Saraswati, and to the subject of the work, Lord Krishna. So who is the Krishna is the subject of this whole work, Srimad Bhagavatam? It is Lord Krishna, and the compiler is Vyasadev ji, and who is going to tell us now is Sutta Goswami, and the patron deities are the divine incarnations Nara and Narayan. Shukadev Goswami is the one who narrated everything to Parikshit. Remember, when Parikshit is the grandson of Arjun, is the last of the kings in the Kaurav dynasty, and how he got shot by the arrow, and how he gave up everything, even his sleep, his hunger, his thirst, and he sat with Shukadev Goswami and heard the Srimad Bhagavatam from him. He was meant to do that because, as we know, when he was unborn, when he was still in the womb of his mother, Uttara, he was Abhimanyu's son. Krishna protected him at that time, and he had seen Krishna. And all his life, he actually was looking for Krishna, and in the end, I think this was completed. The divine arrangement was completed, and he was given the chance to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam before departing from this world. So we will continue our reading tomorrow, and it can't be more simpler than this book which we are reading at the moment to understand the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because if we just open the verses ourselves and try to comprehend, it takes a lot of patience, a lot of dedication just to do by your own self, and it's not an easy task. But as Prabhupada told his disciples that he wanted everyone to preach through Prabhupada's books, which he has done in English, and they have been subsequently translated in all the languages, that Prabhupada wants us to preach in our own words. And Prabhu and Mataji have written Srimad Bhagavatam so simply in their own words and very easy to understand. If you have anything to say, please put in the comments, and I will try my best to help everyone. Hare Krishna, and thank you for joining. That's it.